Coming up on Sports Night.
Izzy Skane and Northwestern Lacrosse gear up for the 2024 Big Ten Tournament.
Northwestern softball looks to fend off a pesky conference opponent for a chance at the Big Ten regular season title.
And baseball faces off against a pair of non-conference foes before its final series of the regular season. Braedon, we've been friends all freshman year.
That's a stretch.
All right then, either way, this is our first show together.
Sure is. I could not be more excited to be anchoring with you tonight. It's Sports Night.
Right now.
Hello everyone and welcome to Sports Night. I'm Braedon Olsen and beside me is Miguel Munoz.
Great to be here with you, Braedon. What better way to start the show than with some big-time Northwestern postseason action?
Northwestern women's lacrosse kicked off Big Ten tournament play with two closely contested games against Johns Hopkins and Penn State. NU hosted Johns Hopkins in the Big Ten tournament semifinal. We saw a lot of goals in the start of this one. Izzy Skane cuts inside and fires low to net her first goal of the game. NU already up 6-2. Erin Kuykendall gets the pass. She makes a move past her defender, slips in, and dumps it low as she falls down to score. What an effort by Kuykendall. But Johns Hopkins would come back in the first half. Ava Angelo swings this goal into the net. She would go on to secure a first half hat trick. Blue Jays cut the lead to 8-6. Kuykendall with 1 minute left charges inside and shoots high to give the Wildcats a 9-7 lead at the half. Blue Jays would tie the game at 10 in the third quarter, but Maddie Taylor would score two, including this one as she charges in for the quick goal off the pass from Mary Schumer. 12-10 Wildcats, Johns Hopkins with the ball. Taylor Haas bounces it home to cut Northwestern's lead to 1. Northwestern looking to tack on some insurance, some quick passes, and Kuykendall gets it past the goalie for her third goal of the game, and she is fired up. Johns Hopkins looking for something. Campbell Case gets it past the Liberty for the goal, and her team is back within 1. Johns Hopkins with one last chance to tie it. La Liberty makes the save, and Northwestern hangs on. They end up defeating Johns Hopkins 13-12 to move on to the Big Ten Tournament Championship.
After taking down Johns Hopkins, the Lakeshore returned to Martin Stadium on Sunday to face Penn State in the Big Ten Tournament Final. Second-seeded Nittany Lions have been one of two teams to take down the Cats during the regular season. Penn State off to a hot start in the first quarter, but attacker Lucy Monroe looks to change that. She passes to Izzy Skane, is a beauty. She looks to make something happen, and with a grand flourish, she does. Northwestern on the board, 2-1 the score. Back and forth action in the second quarter, score now tied at 5 apiece, but Erin Kuykendall says no more. Off the free position, the grad student puts the Cats ahead with the clock ticking down towards halftime. The Northwestern defense shuts down the Nittany Lions in the third quarter, and now it's Dylan Almonte's turn to shine. She gets the feed from Kuykendall and fires for the Cats' 12th goal of the evening, giving them a 7-0 differential in the second half. Izzy Skane is just one goal away from tying the NCAA scoring record. She gets the connection, fires it home, and it is good. Skane's record-tying goal was her 70th on the season as the Cats go up by 4. And after a rain delay and a relocation to the Ryan Fieldhouse, the Lake Show emerges victorious. Madison Taylor is mobbed by her teammates as they hoist the Big Ten trophy for the 4th time in 5 seasons. The Cats earned yet another Big Ten championship, helping them lock in the overall #1 seed in the NCAA Tournament. As they prepare for their first game against the winner of Denver and Stanford, Brendan Preisman has all the insight into the keys of winning it all for the second year in a row.
Thank you so much, Miguel. Folks, it is finally here. Northwestern's first game in the NCAA Tournament is this Sunday, and the Wildcats are looking to repeat as champions. Of course, repeating as champions is never easy, as the Denver Nuggets can attest. So what's going to unlock the door to immortality for this season's Wildcat squad? Well, I can't say for sure, but I've got a few keys that might help. First up is the ground ball game. This lacrosse squad might not have the diamond skills of Northwestern softball, but collecting grounders will still be almost as important for them. The Cats were a solid cleanup crew in the regular season, ranking tied for 56th nationally in ground balls. But that mark won't cut it against teams like Stanford, Denver, or Richmond at 18.17 per game. Northwestern did average 16.5 ground balls per game in the Big Ten tournament, but that average is still below all three of those teams mentioned. If the Wildcats want to get back to the promised land, they'll have to get their claws dirtier than a soybean farmer in planting season. And of course, you can't paint a picture of lacrosse success without talking about the draw control. The Wildcats have been incredibly successful in the draw circle all season long, ranking 14th in draw control percentage. NU's won 58.7% of their draws this year, a mark only 5 tournament teams can claim superiority over. But Northwestern's had some issues controlling possession lately. The Wildcats haven't controlled more than 18 draws in a game since March 30th. Their drawing is starting to look less like Picasso and more like my elementary school pictures. Winning the draw is absolutely essential if Northwestern wants to repeat. It may seem simple to say that ball control is necessary for winning, but as Occam's razor says, the simplest solution is almost always the best. And another key to unlock the championship door is defensive aggression. That may seem like an oxymoron, but bear with me for a second. Northwestern is 10th nationally in caused turnovers per game at 10.35. This team is more known for their offense, and understandably so, but it's the defense that churns the butter. I mean, just look at some of these Jane Hansen stats from the victory over Penn State to clinch the Big Ten. 5 ground balls and 4 caused turnovers, earning Hansen a well-deserved spot on the all-tournament team. Call her Freddie Krieger the way she'll be showing up in the Nittany Lions' nightmares. Northwestern has caused 10 or more turnovers in 11 games this season, including 3 of their last 4. If the defense keeps playing like this, Wildcats opponents are going to be more miserable than a cow during mosquito season. In closing, Northwestern earned the #1 overall seed because of fantastic play on both sides of the ball. Superstars like Izzy Skane, Madison Taylor, Samantha Smith, and Kendall Halpern earned first-team All-Big Ten honors thanks to consistent and sustained excellence. But titles aren't just won by having excellent players alone. Just ask the Lakers. When it comes to postseason success, the games are decided by who comes out on top in the margins. Now, Northwestern's offense is scarier than a twister in an RV park, and the defense is more destructive than a hailstorm on a cornfield. But it's these stats right here that truly determine this team's ceiling. If the Wildcats want to win the big trophy, then they've got to win the little things. Back up to you guys.
Thanks, Brendan. We'll see if Northwestern can fulfill their championship potential as they await their opponent. Stay tuned for our coverage this Sunday on Twitter at NNN Sports.
Stay right where you are, because when we get back, we'll see a softball can hit it out of the park with the Big Ten title on the line.
Trying to work my way out of the prison system was the most difficult challenge of my life. It only became tangible once I became a Northwestern student.
One, two, three, four.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Back to Sports Night. Miguel, Northwestern softball faced up against the Indiana Hoosiers to wrap up the regular season.
I have to say, Braedon, I have no idea what a Hoosier is, but there's no way it could compete with a Wildcat.
Well, we sure found that out this weekend.
Northwestern softball welcomes IU for a 3-game series this weekend, looking to stay atop the Big Ten. Number 23 Northwestern taking on Indiana at home, where the champ would clinch the Big Ten regular season title. Game 1, the Wildcats facing an early 3-run deficit, but Emma Ray mashes a home run over the left center field wall, cutting the lead to 2. Game tied at 3 in the bottom of the 6th inning. Now Kelsey Nader at the plate, and she ropes one to right field that goes over the wall for a 3-run home run. Northwestern holds on to win Game 1, 6-3. Now, bottom of the 1st inning, and Sophie Kleinman's pitch lands in the dirt, leaving Nader enough time to scramble home for a score. Indiana would respond in the next inning. Chloe Gazer blasts Cami Henry's pitch to left field for the grand slam. Northwestern cannot come back from the deficit and drops Game 2, 8-3. And now a Sunday rubber match in Evanston. Indiana takes an early lead as Taylor Minnick knocks a hit to left field to score a run. Hoosiers up 2-0. Northwestern would have the game tied in the 3rd inning. Emma Ray at the plate, and she comes up with a clutch 2-run home run that flies over the left center field wall to give Northwestern an important lead, 4-2 in Game 3. Indiana with the bases loaded in the top of the 7th. Renee Cunningham forces a chopper to second base to get the easy out in the series victory, clinching the Big Ten regular season title.
After clinching the regular season title, Northwestern entered the Big Ten Tournament as the number 1 seed and faced off against their weekend opponent, Indiana, earlier today in the quarterfinals. Bottom of the 2nd, Izzy Cunningham gets the Cats on the board first, ripping an RBI double over the left fielder's head. Indiana would storm back, scoring 3 before the game entered a rain delay in the 5th inning. Play would resume an hour later, and the Hoosiers picked up where they left off. Allie Van Brandt taps one past the pitcher and brings home a run on an infield single, but the Cardiac Cats weren't going down without a fight. Kelsey Nader slugs one to deep center field for a solo shot to pull Northwestern back within 2. The same inning, Emma Ray drives a double to deep center that brings home Hannah Cady all the way from first. Cats only trailing by 1 now. Northwestern on their last life with 2 outs in the 7th. Kansas Robinson flies one to right field, but right into the glove of Cora Bassett. Indiana upsets Northwestern 4-3, taking down the defending champs. As the Cats prepare for a rematch with Indiana in the Big Ten Tournament, it's worth taking a look at a few players that helped make the season successful. SportsNight's Raj Ghanekar has the story on a trio of underclassmen who played beyond their years to help keep the Cats on top.
Northwestern softball started its season with big shoes to fill, with 5 grad student leaders from last season gone. Head coach Kate Drohan embraced the challenge.
So early on in the year, it was all about like, okay, we need to define who we are as a team this year. What are our strengths? What's our recipe for success?
And those shoes seemed to fit perfectly on her 3 sophomores, Kansas Robinson, Kelsey Nader, and Bridget Donahue. The 3 are all top 5 in hitting on the squad. Robinson lets her bat do the talking, leading the Cats in most major hitting categories, while supporting her teammates on defense.
I've just been trying my best to lead by example, be vocal, be there for everyone on the team, and just be that ear when they need someone to talk to.
Nader bats in the 2 spot and brings some power of her own at the plate, with 6 home runs this year after hitting just 1 last year.
The way I try to step up is kind of like be the energy for the team and that spark plug when the team might be down or something like that.
And finally, Donahue focused on her development in 2023, but now in her expanded role brings her powerful arm and personality to the shortstop position.
Just if I can bring joy and consistency and just any good vibes into the infield that I can bring, I'd say are like my biggest contributions.
Now, the usual belief is that experience precedes success, but Coach Strohan's recruitment of the 3 certainly proves otherwise, bringing in 3 players with a love for the game, a competitive spirit, and good chemistry to sustain the squad's success even when the roster got a little younger.
When we built the class, it was really interesting how they started gelling already. You know, even while they were still in high school, and the relationship they built is really doing a lot for us momentum-wise on the field now.
And that momentum certainly built to something special, the team clinching their third straight regular season Big Ten championship. 3 youngsters helping to keep the program on top through their talent and personalities.
When they're good to the game and they're good to each other like that, I think that good things will happen.
Raj Ghanekar, NNN Sports.
Thanks, Raj. We'll see just how well Northwestern's young core can continue to win as they enter the part of the season where it matters most. We'll have all the updates for you next week, so stay tuned.
In the midst of a 7-game losing streak, Northwestern baseball was eager to pick up a much-needed win as their season nears an end. Northwestern baseball made their way to Iowa City for a weekend series against the Hawkeyes, looking to bounce back from their loss earlier this week. Strong start as Griffin Arnone gets a hit and the Cats get another point on the board, going up 2-0 early in the game. The lead lasted through the 9th inning. However, Northwestern couldn't hang on. Cade Moss of Iowa got a piece and sent 2 Hawkeyes running home. New day, new game, and Cats are starting out hot again with another RBI from Jackson Preisman in the first inning. In similar fashion, the Cats stay on top for the next 6 innings, but the Hawkeyes come back, going on top 4-1 in the 7th inning. The 8th inning brought a lot of runs for the Hawkeyes, and a 2-run homer at the end of the inning put the game out of reach for the Cats. Northwestern loses the second of the 3-game series 9-2. Final chance for Northwestern to avoid the sweep, however, it's not a good start as the Hawkeyes get on the board in the first inning. After some back and forth, the Cats go up in the 6th with an RBI from Preston Knott, sending a runner home. With a chance for Iowa to take the lead in the 8th inning, Jackson Freeman coming up huge with a diving catch to end the inning scoreless, and we are going to overtime. Cats make it to 13 innings but couldn't lock in the win. An RBI sends Iowa's Michael Seeger sprinting home, narrowly missing the out. Not a bad way to end the senior day. The Hawkeyes sweep the series, sending Northwestern home after a winless weekend.
Some spotty weather in Evanston delayed the start of Northwestern's midweek matchup against in-state rival Eastern Illinois. First pitch after the delay, the Panthers' leadoff man Dylan Drumkey lines one to right field, but it's another web gem by freshman phenom Jackson Freeman. Second inning, Cats leadoff man Preston Knott at the plate. He mashes one opposite field in between left and center. Tony Livermore comes in to score. 2-0 Cats. Wildcats looking to add to their lead. Bennett Markinson launches one off his bat, and it sails over the left field fence. Cats lead by 3. 6-4 now, and Trenton Palace of EIU cruises one over the fence, tying things up at 6. Jackson Freeman pops one in the bottom of the 6th up into the right center gap, but the Panthers right fielder loses it in the sun. 2 runners come in, 6-5 NU, and Northwestern would not lose their lead, winning this one 9-7 after Jack Dyke seals the deal in the 9th. Cats get their 14th win of the year. Cats looking to keep the momentum going against Milwaukee on Wednesday afternoon. And Milwaukee's Ben Buring rips a double to left center to give his team an early 2-run lead to start the game. But a Griffin Arnone triple in the 3rd ties the ball game in Evanston. Owen Mickelpatrick absolutely mashes a grand slam to give the Cats a lead, and another homer in his next at-bat would seal the 9-3 victory for Northwestern. The Wildcats improved to 15 wins on the season, but still remain at the bottom of the Big Ten. They travel to Columbus this weekend to continue their momentum as they face Ohio State in a 3-game series.
Coming up, Northwestern's women's tennis heads to the NCAA Tournament where they face Arizona State in their biggest game of the year.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Ready, set, Munoz!
Welcome back to Sports Night. Miguel, it looks like the West Coast came out on top this week.
For sure, Braedon. I mean, did you hear that Kendrick Lamar diss track?
No, Miguel, I'm talking about Northwestern tennis. Men's tennis saw its season come to an end as the Cats fell 4-2 in Santa Clara in the first round of the NIT Championship in Bradenton, Florida. The Broncos came out strong in doubles play, picking up a pair of victories against the duos of Felix Nordby and Gleb Blecker and Nick Herdoiza and Jackson Caldwell. The singles matches were more hotly contested, with Presley Thieneman upsetting Christian Lurby on court number 1 and Max Benson winning his match in straight sets. Unfortunately for the Cats, the remaining singles matches did not go their way, paving the way for a Broncos victory. Northwestern finished its season with a record of 10-19, going 3-6 in Big Ten play.
Now on to the women's tennis team, whose season also concluded this past week. The number 35 ranked Wildcats took on Arizona State in the first round of the NCAA Tournament, looking to grab their first win of the tourney. The Cats dominated in the doubles, with Sydney Pratt and Nina Feldman winning 6-4 on the second court. Brittany Lau and Maria Shusharina won by the same score, securing a point for Northwestern. Lau and Shusharina both took care of business in the singles, but Arizona State would stage a comeback to tie the match at 3. It all came down to Christina Hand, who entered into a tiebreak game after the third set of her match was tied at 6. Hand fell in tiebreaker 7-1, which clinched the 4-3 victory for the Sun Devils. The loss concluded another strong season for the Wildcats, who finished the season 19-8 with 9 wins in Big Ten play and an undefeated record in Evanston.
Northwestern women's golf began its 14th straight regional appearance at the East Lansing Regional on Tuesday. NU, the region's number 2 seed, aimed for a top 5 finish out of 12 teams to advance to the NCAA Women's Golf Championships. Powered by Lauren Nguyen's 5-under finish that tied for 5th in the tournament, the Cats placed 4th behind USC, Oklahoma State, and Michigan State. Northwestern cemented its spot in the championships for the 9th time since 2013. Jiayi Wang finished her week 1 over, while Ashley Yoon and Jianni Lee finished tied for 27th and 31st respectively. Jennifer Kai was 4 over through 2 rounds before a 6 over third round dropped her to a 16th place finish. The Cats will look to make their mark in the NCAA Women's Golf Championships through May 17th through the 22nd at the Omni La Costa Resort and Spa in Carlsbad, California.
Men's golf shares a similar sentiment, looking to do some damage as they enter the NCAA tournament as a 5 seed. Max Rothfeder is here to break down Northwestern's region, key players, and biggest accomplishments from the year.
Yeah, that's right. Northwestern men's golf will be playing in the Chapel Hill Regional, which is hosted by the number 1 team, UNC. There's a lot of tough opponents coming into this match, including Alabama, Georgia Tech, and East Tennessee State, all seeded ahead of Northwestern, who's the 5 seed. Now, 5 is a very important cutoff in this event because that's the number of teams who will be eligible to move on to the NCAA championships. So looking at the best team in this region, now number 1 is UNC. Now they were the ACC champion. They won 4 events and had 3 other second places on the season. They're the clear favorite to win. Now, Alabama is the second-ranked team. They won 3 events on the season, but 2 of those came in the fall, where their star, Nick Dunlap, was part of the team. Now, he made it onto the PGA Tour, winning as an amateur for the first time since 1991, and is no longer part of the Alabama Crimson Tide team, but they've been strong, securing a win and a second-place finish still in the spring season. And then Georgia Tech, the number 3 ranked team, they've had 3 second-place finishes in an ACC match play semifinals. Now, they have not been able to get a victory so far this season. And now I want to take you through a few key events from the year. The first one was all the way back in September, where we saw a lot of these teams face off against each other. UNC won, Georgia Tech got 3rd, Alabama in 5th, and then Baylor, who's that key seed that Northwestern has to beat if it wants to stay in the top 5, got 7th. Another key event, the Linger Longer Invitational. Now, that was back in March, where Alabama won and stayed ahead of Georgia Tech without their star, Nick Dunlap. 7th seed VCU, they won the Atlantic 10 Conference Championship as well as 2 other wins on the season, but they competed in a lot less competitive of tournaments. Now, looking specifically at Northwestern's golf team, their star is Daniel Svard, the second year. He was the 2024 Big Ten individual champion, coming off the same victory back in 2023. Also All Big Ten first team and the 2024 All Big Ten championship team member, joined by James Imai, who's a grad student. He got the Sportsmanship Award, All Big Ten second team, and also All Big Ten championship team for their 2024 Big Ten championship win. They're rounded out by Ethan Sang, who was All Big Ten first team, Cameron Adam, All Big Ten second team. And now throughout the season, they've been switching between Christopher Zhang and Niall Shields-Donegan, and it's going to be interesting to see who they go with. They went with Niall back in the previous tournament in the Big Ten championships. That's who I'd say is likely to play. And then their coach, David Ingles, was named the 2024 Big Ten Coach of the Year. Now, looking back a little bit at their season, they've had 2 second-place finishes in the fall, and then a 5th, 6th, and 13th in other events. They couldn't quite get a victory until the Big Ten championship. Nothing else too big to note with 3rd, 4th, 6th, and 17th place finishes. But that 17th place finish came in a key event, that event being the Prestige, where 9th place went to Loyola Marymount and 18th place went to Baylor. Northwestern, who is the 5th ranked team, of course, has to fit into that gap at 17th back in the Prestige. They've got to score ahead if they want to get into the regionals, assuming the first 4 seeded teams play as well as they have. And then finally, at the Club of Georgia Collegiate, we saw a 2nd place from Georgia Tech, a 3rd place from East Tennessee. Northwestern could only do 13th place. Those are 2 teams ranked ahead of them going into this event. Northwestern will have to play better if it wants to stay ahead and get into those top 5 to make it into the championships.
Thanks, Max. Make sure to keep yourselves updated as we'll have all the coverage of men's golf next week.
With a big weekend coming up, let's take a look at how you can catch the Cats.
The action begins Friday evening with baseball taking on Ohio State at 5 p.m.
On Sunday at 1, Lacrosse kicks off NCAA Tournament action against the winner of Denver and Stanford.
And all day Monday, you can catch men's golf compete in the NCAA Regional.
It's not over just yet, folks. We've still got everyone's favorite segment, Plays of the Week, when we come back.
I'm Kelly McEvers, founding host of the NPR podcast Embedded.
I'm James Edwards, host of the Unresolved podcast from Frontline.
I'm Antonia Cereijido, former senior producer of Anything for Selena podcast and current executive producer at Elias Studios.
My narrative, since I've been locked up and kind of made my transition, has been like redemption, accountability.
When I come into the classroom environment, every individual that sits amongst me takes education seriously.
My relationship with Giannis is unique. We're from the same country, we're from the same city. Being a Northwestern alum, I think, has tremendous advantages in the sports industry. To me, that community, it's been with me for 20 plus years.
Welcome back to Sports Night, Braedon. Everyone calls us twins, but we've got a triplet of plays to show you from this past week.
Let's see what the Cats did on Plays of the Week.
At number 3, Northwestern passing the ball around, and Aaron Kuykendall gives the Cats a 13-11 lead with 3:33 to play, helping them advance to the Big Ten Tournament Championship.
At number 2, Izzy Skanes sneaks past the Penn State goalie to tie the NCAA all-time goal record, leading her team to their second consecutive Big Ten tournament title.
And at number 1, after a rain delay, freshman Jackson Freeman with the diving catch to make the SportsCenter top 10 in Northwestern's 9-7 win over Eastern Illinois.
Miguel, it's been great being on with you, but sadly, that's going to wrap up for us on Sports Night.
Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at NNN Sports and on Twitter at NNN_sports. For Braedon Olsen, I'm Miguel Munoz, and have a good night and go Cats. That's it, bro.